Welcome. You can't start me out like that, bruh. All right.
Got him.
Welcome back to Two Booze Tube. Today we are talking pro wrestling, specifically WWE. And because it is WrestleMania time, WrestleMania is just around the corner, I thought we would react to the 13 definitive best WWE WrestleMania matches. This list was just released, so we're going to react to this. And I do say we because I also have a special guest with me. You've seen him on the channel before. He's a wrestling aficionado. He's a person I have a lot of love for. He knows a lot. He's a good guy, and that is none other than my cousin, John. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, yo. Thanks for having me, cuz. Once again, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man. Let's get ready for this bullshit, cuz I
Dave.
am I am intrigued about what they're gonna have on this list.
You're coming hot. So yeah, so here's the fun part is that John, I've seen this list. John has not seen this list. And again, like I said, I would consider a wrestling aficionado. He's watched every single WrestleMania. He's analyzed them. He has his core favorites. So he's also going to be comparing that to his list of favorites. Without further ado, we've done enough teasing. Let's go ahead and start with the first one on the list. So, John, number 13 is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes Bloodline Rules match at WrestleMania 40. The main event from last year is number 13 on this list. Nice to see it make the list because I feel like it was a good match. If you guys watch our WrestleMania Night 1 podcast, we actually talked about how we were at WrestleMania 40 and got to see that main event live. And the ending to that main event was next level. I do think it's fair to actually have it on this list. Number 13, though, that's going to be harder to say once we see the full list, but I think this is a worthy start.
Where'd you get this list from?
This is from Sportster.com.
Okay.
They have a rating system. They have storytelling, technical ability, character work, psychology, crowd reaction. They also have it compared to Dave Meltzer's rating and cagematch.net. So take that as you will. But they did kind of reinforce it versus other ratings out there with other kind of wrestling
Right.
media
Right.
news
Again,
places.
now I'm really intrigued about this list because if we're that's the criteria we're basing this on, this might be higher. But let's it's number 13. Let's keep going. Let's see.
I mean,
Good start.
as far as number 13, you look at the main event of, or that was the main event of WrestleMania 40. You look at what happened in that match. You had The Rock come out, you had Cena come out, then you had Undertaker take out The Rock and everything. It all kind of culminated in Cody finally finishing the story. There was a lot of
Right.
weight to that finish. So good
Right. I'll
start. But
tell you
let's
right
move
now.
along.
I'll tell you right now. If there's a Becky Lynch match on this list that's in front of this one, we got problems already. But go ahead.
Well, let's see. As I kind of scrolled through, I don't think I saw any women's matches, but we'll see. I might have missed it.
Let's
I
go.
might, I might have
Let's
missed
go.
it. All right. So number 12, we have Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior. They have Dash retirement match in WrestleMania
Mm,
7.
7. Okay. I like it. I like it. Macho Man can go in the ring. So Warrior, however, wasn't a great worker. That's no secret to those
Yeah.
who watch wrestling and who study wrestling. Warrior was not a great wrestler, very limited in the ring. However, he's in there with Macho Man Randy Savage and with the retirement match. Good story, great build up, great ending, great ending. With the reunite of Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man at the time. So okay, I'm with 12.
Yeah,
I'm with 12.
here's how they explain it. So, speaking of emotional stories, was this the greatest match of all time from a technical standpoint? Far from it. Is pro wrestling more than that? Absolutely. The retirement match between Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage at WrestleMania 7 encapsulates everything the Showcase of Immortals is about. Two huge stars colliding with a fantastic story and a tremendous crowd to boot. Sensational Sherry's role in this match shouldn't be ignored. She was more than essential here. In fact, she was the true heel. Sherry couldn't afford to lose her meal ticket, no matter how hard Savage tried. They simply couldn't put Warrior away. After the bell, having lost everything, Sherry snapped and attacked the now retired Macho King. Miss Elizabeth made the save and reunited with Savage, who is now Macho Man once again, leaving
Yep.
grown men and women crying in the audience.
They're not lying. They're not
So,
lying. There was a lot of emotion back in those
emotion.
days. A
Yeah,
lot of
emotion.
motion back in those days. Absolutely. I would
Okay.
totally. I would totally agree on that one.
Okay.
I totally
So
agree.
you
So we'll
say
go.
so
We'll
far
go with
pretty
12.
solid.
So
You
far,
go with 12.
so far,
Okay.
so far.
All right. I think actually, I don't know if you're going to agree with this because you have some feelings about one of the people in this match. So number 11 is Triple H versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. And I know how you feel about Daniel Bryan. I know why this is on that list because that's when there was a lot of backing and rallying for Daniel Bryan to kind of really
Yes,
get this push.
yes. I'm not gonna down that match. I'm not. I'm not gonna down that match. Daniel Bryan, I'm not a big fan of Daniel Bryan. However, I'm not gonna say the man can't wrestle. I'm just
Yep.
not a fan of Daniel Bryan.
I like him.
The match of Triple H was a great setup for the triple threat match to take on later on that night. I'm with it. I'm with it.
Okay.
I'm with it. I like the storyline behind it. Like I said, Daniel Bryan was kind of dismissed. They were going with Batista at the that year. He won the Royal Rumble, got booed like crazy. That actually would have been a great Royal Rumble for Roman Reigns to win, considering that how dominant he was in that match. He was actually applauded. He was getting some cheers in that match in that Royal Rumble, and then when Batista threw him out. That was kind of like the downfall of Batista because he got booed out of that arena. And
Mm-hmm.
then the lead up with the triple threat match, and then Daniel Bryan having to beat Triple H. Good story. First of all, the Yes movement. That's when it all started. So to even
Yep.
get there, that the big Monday night when the whole Yes thing happened with the crowd.
Yep.
So okay, I'm with 11. I'm with
All
11.
right.
Okay. I'm with
He's
11.
feeling it. Yeah, there's so much I think culturally and with the
Yes.
involvement of the fans and everything with that
Yes.
match. And yeah,
Yes.
the impact it had with sparking the Yes movement. I
Right.
can see why it's
Right.
also
Right. I'm not a
on
hater.
this
I'm not a
list.
hater. I don't like who I like, but I'm not a hater.
That's good. That's commendable. I commend you for that. All right, so number 10, I highly agree with this. If I did a top 10, this would also be on the list. I think a lot of people would have this on their list. It's very impactful because it's the first of a particular type of stipulation match or
Hmm.
particular style of match, and that is none other than Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon in the ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 10.
That's at 10. They put that at 10.
That's at
Ooh,
number 10. It's a weird list because it's 13. 13 is kind of a weird number to land on for
right.
a top 13.
That's at
However,
number 10. Ooh, yeah. I wonder that. Probably because.
there's got to be
Mm,
bangers. If this is number 10, there's got to be some other bangers on
yeah,
this list.
yeah, yeah. Because I know,
So,
and number 10, maybe lack of story. I mean, you had the
so
Intercontinental. You had Shawn Michaels. I think he got hurt. Razor became champion. Shawn came back, claimed he was still the rightful champion. So they did um the unification match at Mania, which at that time was innovative because there really wasn't no televised ladder matches. I mean, ladder
mhm.
matches have been around for a very long time. That probably was the first televised WWE ladder match that I can remember. I could be wrong, but that
Yeah,
I can remember. And it was at WrestleMania, and they both put on the show. They both put on a real good show. I remember watching that as a kid and was like, "Wow, this is good, man. This is real." Shawn stole the show. Razor's no slouch. Razor and Shawn, two great wrestlers in the ring with Shawn Michaels' athleticism and fantastic sell jobs. I mean, it made that match.
yeah. It's interesting when you see that match. Honestly, if you pluck that out of its time period and you drop that into today with ladder matches, it actually would fit in, I think, pretty well. Like the
Yeah,
stuff they were doing was ahead of its time with some of the spots
right,
and the ideas that they were thinking of. It was kind of wild when you
right.
think when this actually took place.
Yeah. They took
So
bumps.
yeah, they took hard
Yeah,
hits, and
yeah, they
it was
took
a little more
bumps.
intense than
Yeah,
what you
they
had
took
seen
bumps.
before.
Yes, they
Hmm.
did. They took some good bumps in that match.
It says the ladder match is one of the most exciting and compelling match types in pro wrestling. This is mostly because of the iconic battle between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon at WrestleMania 10. While it wasn't the first ladder match ever, it was the first on WWE pay-per-view, and
There
it
you go. So
inspired
was that.
future
I guess that was it.
generations.
Yep.
WWE fans were in awe during the
Or
match,
W fans, whichever
or
one.
W fans, wrestling fans, as most hadn't seen anything quite like it that the two Click members were doing inside the squared circle. One of those
Right.
spots was Michael's legendary splash off the ladder,
Off
a
the
moment
top.
that is included in every WWE highlight package to this day. So highly influential as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
So, all right. Yeah. So decent so far.
Decent so
Not
far.
bad. We're looking good.
Not bad.
So
Not
now
bad.
I tend to argue that this next one actually might be on your list for your
Okay.
top, maybe top 10, top 5.
Okay.
So
Let's
number
go.
9 on their list is the Triple Threat World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania 20, which you and
I was
I were
just saying.
just talking about that earlier
That's
today.
right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Great match. Great
So
match.
that's, for those who don't know, just in case, maybe someone who don't know, it was against Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit for the World
Right.
Heavyweight Championship.
We just had this conversation at WrestleMania 20. I said I'm gonna go back and watch that before Mania. It's one of the WrestleManias I haven't really watched in the last couple of years. But it was a banger. But that triple threat match, man, it had everything you needed. It had the rivalry with Triple H and Shawn Michaels going into it. You had Chris Benoit, who at that time uh, was probably the most underrated wrestler they had.
Yeah.
Um, I probably would say probably the most underrated wrestler they had. Right in the ring, and we talked about this during the Royal Rumble, as far as guys winning it that you didn't really think was going to win the Royal Rumble. You know, we kind of shied away from that with Cody, Brock Lesnar, and these guys over the years that have won. It's like, oh, I saw that coming. It was like every year was, surprise who might win, who might not. Chris Benoit was number one that year. Shawn Michaels the only one at that point to do that. Here comes Chris Benoit, goes the full distance, and then you have that build up, and then Shawn Michaels loses the title to Triple H, and then Shawn Michaels feels excluded from that, and then Shawn Michaels, just like with the whole Rhea Ripley situation, inputs himself into the triple threat match, and then
Mm-hmm.
these three guys put on an absolute show. They had blood, they had a story, they had aggression, they had hate. I mean, it was a great match. It was a great match.
Mm-hmm.
Now you
Yeah, they
got me
consider
excited. I'm gonna
it.
have to watch that tonight.
Yeah, they consider it. And here they say in the article, the main event was an all-time classic.
Right.
Triple H defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Shawn Michaels and 2004 Royal Rumble winner Chris Benoit, with the three men putting on a show at MSG. The
Yep.
in-reaction was excellent and the fans were into it. The
At
near
the
falls
Garden.
at the Garden, yep.
At
The
the
near
Garden.
falls in this bout were fantastic, particularly when Benoit kicked out of Hunter's pedigree or when Michaels super kicked Benoit as he applied the sharpshooter on Triple H. In the end, Benoit made the game tap out to the crippler crossface to win the heavyweight championship. And I think they say it here. Maybe this gets a little overlooked because obviously we know the story with Chris Benoit. But
Right.
for me,
Right.
it's one of those
Right.
things where you have to separate the art from the artist. And I
Right.
think
Right.
he
Right.
he's such, you cannot, in that time period, in that era, the ruthless aggression, that
That's
time
right.
period, the 2000s. I mean, he was one of the top guys, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy had so much talent. It's a shame, obviously, what happened, but and we don't have to get too deep into it. But I think that's why this match might get perhaps overlooked because of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
everyone in
Like you
it.
said, we're not sitting here saying, forgive the guy or anything along those lines, but you can't argue the fact kind of wrestler he was. I mean, at the time, he was one of my dad's favorite wrestlers. Me and my dad grew up Bret Hart fans. Chris Benoit, just like Kobe to Michael. He was like the closest thing we had to Bret Hart. I enjoyed his matches. He took a lot of bumps. Took a lot of bumps.
Hmm.
He didn't shy away from taking good, great bumps or
In the
uh
head,
right? Or those epic moments where you're like, oh my gosh, headbutts off the top of the cage and stuff like that.
a
But his
lot of
body definitely
headbutts.
do a lot, right? So I mean, Benoit at the time had tremendous respect in and out the ring, from his peers and from his fans. And I knew it was man, that was a good match. And then the ending with him, Guerrero in the end. I mean, you can't get no better than that, man.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, this is good. This is good. No
It's just good.
strikeouts,
It's good.
no
I was
strikes, I
very
should say.
concerned. I was very concerned about these lists, man. I get very
Yeah,
concerned, but we're good so far. We're good
it was
so far.
concerning. The list was
Yeah,
concerning.
very concerning.
Yeah.
Very concerning.
So, all right, well, let's see what we got next here. So, this is number 8 on the list. Again, I'm
Okay.
sure you'd probably agree with this, with the two gentlemen that are in this, and that is Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21.
Oh yes, yes, yes. That is actually on my top five. Actually,
There we go. We hit the
that
top
is
five. We hit
yes.
the top five.
That is actually on my top five. Absolutely. In my opinion, it don't get better than Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle inside that ring. We've had this conversation. I have gone back and have like literally watched and studied Kurt Angle more and more over the last couple of years, just growing a more appreciation of how good that
Yeah.
guy freaking was. And I
Yeah.
mean, him and Shawn Michaels. Oh my God, that I remember watching that match, and it's just like. Man, and I think that match gets overlooked, in my opinion, due to the fact of Shawn Michaels having that great match with The Undertaker.
Yeah,
Um, in those two WrestleMania, especially
that
in
might be on this
25.
list.
That has to be. I'm pretty sure that probably be number one on this list. Freaking fantastic match. I mean, you can't draw it up any better, in my opinion. If you're going to be a wrestler, this is a match you got to study.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so much I can say about this match, but all I know is this was fantastic,
and
fantastic.
also,
In my opinion, the top three best wrestlers in the ring ever.
yeah, and also right now, if you look at this list, that's already I think 3 matches or so with Shawn Michaels. So he's living to the moniker of Mr.
Mr.
WrestleMania
WrestleMania,
right now. You can
absolutely,
see in this top 13 list, he's already hit 3 of them, I
absolutely,
believe, have had Shawn Michaels. So it goes to say,
absolutely. That's
there it
right. Go
is.
ahead, Sean. There it
Represent,
is. Represent.
represent. All right, so let's see what we got next here. So that's nice. We already got one that's on your top 5 that's also on this list. That's what I like to
Mhm.
see. So let's go ahead and move to number 7 on this list. Another guy on this list is tying or getting close to Shawn Michaels, and that's Triple H versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania 28.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. I'm good with this one. I'm good. The last of the
Yeah.
Mohegans, in a sense. The end of an era match. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The close falls. The close falls. Especially when Shawn Michaels super kicked the Undertaker and Triple H pedigreed him.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. They had the crowd going in that match. They had the crowd
Mm-hmm.
going in that match. Both
Yep.
men put on an absolute performance. Shawn Michaels adding to the mix. I thought that was a great add-on. Hey, the man that couldn't beat the Undertaker, couldn't end the streak. They threw him in that match. Yeah, great
Yeah.
match. I mean, again, Shawn Michaels. He's not
Again,
right. He's not really wrestling this match, but he's
but
refereeing
he's
half of it.
involved. But he's involved.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Undertaker, Triple H, some of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. Obviously, from the Attitude Era, that we all grew up watching, and they put on an absolute match inside Hell in a Cell, which is the Undertaker's playground. But also, if I'm not mistaken, Triple H still holds the record for the most Hell in a Cell wins.
Yeah.
So, and I think they might have played into that with some promos, but
Mm-hmm.
absolutely great match. They were just showing this not too long ago on one of the I think it was on Raw,
Okay.
honoring Triple H, considering he's going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Right. Yeah, and deservedly so. And it's nice to
Right,
see Undertaker finally make the list. I was wondering when he was going to come up. So
right,
we
right,
finally got the introduction of
right.
Undertaker. And finally, for number 6, I'm glad we also have the introduction of these two folks as well. In this article, they actually have it linked to WWE's 50 greatest WrestleMania matches, and this actually came up as number 5 on WWE's list. And that is The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, no DQ match at WrestleMania 17. Now, some would actually say, too, that WrestleMania 17 might be one of the best WrestleManias.
Well, it's considered the best WrestleMania, even from a
The
box
best.
office standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, for numbers.
right,
So
absolutely.
what do you think about this match? Do you think it's
I
deserved?
mean, let me ask you this question: Does it get bigger than The Rock and Stone Cold,
True. Iconic.
the leaders of the Attitude Era? Does it get bigger than the Rock and Stone Cold? I wish Rock would have won that match. 15, he lost to Stone Cold. That was obviously a given. Rock was the heel, Stone Cold was the overcomer. But I really wish Rock would have got this one. You actually think about it, Rock WrestleMania record, it ain't that good. It ain't that good.
No,
He actually
no.
goes Owen. He actually goes, what is it, 15, 16, and 17 all in a row. He loses all three in the main event.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it shows you how well of a performer he is that you
right.
don't even realize that because of how entertaining. You have the twist there of him kind of turning heel, I guess, and
Right.
joining Vince, which is also crazy. And all right, so number 5, we just mentioned this. It's not a surprise. It is not number 1 because I know that was your guess. Is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels
Ooh,
at WrestleMania 25.
did I really want to know what freaking won then?
Yes, this is an amazing match. Wasn't this considered the retirement match for Shawn Michaels?
No,
Am I
no,
blanking?
no. It was the next one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they go again. I think the following
Oh,
year they
that's
go
what it
again.
was. Yeah, they
Yeah,
won
they go
again.
again.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
both solid.
26. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw
yeah.
this match together. I mean, oh man, I don't think we I don't think we stood in our seats long in that match, especially towards that end. I mean,
Hmm.
the excitement in that match, the close calls.
This is
Um,
this is when he came out in like the angel. get up, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Heaven and hell. Heaven and hell.
Yeah. It was like
Yep.
the dichotomy of
This when Undertaker dove over the top rope and
and he
like
pushed the cameraman in. The cameraman saved him though.
pretty
It was
much,
smart.
yes.
Hmm.
Yes, pretty much saved him. I
Yeah.
mean, what an iconic match between two of the greatest WWE stars of all time, Mr. WrestleMania, versus the greatest WWE character of all time. I don't think anybody will argue that one. Phenomenal match, great storytelling. Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, trying to stop the streak. Shawn Michaels, at that time, well, still is a Christian. Heaven and hell theme they were
Yeah.
going with. Shawn Michaels coming down, Undertaker coming up. I mean, great storytelling. The match delivered
Spectacle.
on right. The match
The
delivered
spectacle
on
there.
all levels. Unfortunately for Triple H and Randy Orton, they had to go right after them. So
Right.
it kind
That's
of
always
sucked.
the thing. Yeah, it's like how do
It
you
was kind
follow some of these huge matches? It's crazy.
well, the fans were drained. I mean, we were drained at the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah,
We were
that's how
drained at the
WrestleMania
house.
is. WrestleMania is like
Yeah.
that too, where it's like you have these crazy matches, then you got to be like get hyped up again
It's
and
just it's just
bring
it's
that
just
energy again for the next one.
it's just and credit to the Undertaker and the producers and the people who come up, with his matches because to think that before he lost to Brock Lesnar, to think that every year we believed in some kind of way that Undertaker could possibly lose. He started really hitting the heavy hitters towards the end before Brock Lesnar. I mean, just think about that, and to think that continually Undertaker put on great match, with top guys, and you always thought it was some wow in this way he gonna lose, and you were still glued to your seat, up out of your seat, like kudos, man, kudos. But this
Hmm.
match right here, man. That
Solid.
was good.
Yeah,
Real good. No,
I'd put that on my top five. I think
absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
sure. All right, so number four, I saw this again recently. I can't remember when. For some reason, I watched this match again, and I realized, oh, I know why. They were talking about it, his biography episode on A&E, and that is Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat for the Intercontinental
Yes.
title, WrestleMania 3.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he kind of broke down kind of things behind that match and how they essentially stole the show. Obviously, WrestleMania 3, you have Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, massive,
Right.
iconic
Right. So
story
right.
there.
Back to right.
But Intercontinental title, the mid card, this is where you got that idea, these kind of mid card championships essentially, working to outshine everyone. And I think in
Right.
this one, you could argue that they did that.
They absolutely did. Yeah, as far as from a wrestling standpoint, which by the way, this is in my top list. So
Nice.
we're going back to back here. So Taker and Shawn are on my list. Macho Man and Steamboat, which was the first match that I ever saw as a
Hmm.
kid that I can because I saw the WrestleMania 3. I think wasn't even 10 yet. I don't think. I
Hmm.
remember I still got it. I still got the VHS tape too that I bought. But I remember watching this match, and even as a kid, not knowing anything about pretty much the breakdown of wrestling or the psychology that goes into a match or anything along those lines. But I remember as a kid watching this match saying, that is a good freaking match.
Yeah.
So good. So good. So good. The first match ever on my top list. I've loved that match ever since the first time I saw it. A phenomenal match. I'm a big Macho Man guy. Steamboat. Again, another
Yep.
guy, just like Kurt Angle over the years, I've kind of tried to watch more of his matches to kind of get a understanding of how good he was in the ring. And
Hmm.
these two guys, man, what a freaking match they put on at the Pontiac Silverdome where they set the record initially. I think it got
90,000.
broken. Yeah, I think it got broken. If I'm not mistaken, it got broken. If not, but either way, biggest attendance, big risk they took with WrestleMania 3, obviously highlighted by Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. As far as superstar standpoint, they didn't pass him. But as far as in the ring, absolutely, that match was the best match on that card. Way better than Hogan and Andre.
Definitely.
That was just more for the cool points. But if you want to say what was the best match on that card, there's no denying that Macho Man and Steamboat was the best. I would argue that was the best match, WrestleMania match up to that point. Period.
Yeah.
One,
No,
two,
that's
one,
fair.
one, two, and 1, 2, and 3, probably even 4.
That's fair. That's fair. I think this
Right.
match is also a timeless match. Again, you could take this and you could put this in any time period and it would
Still
still
go.
amaze people and wow
It would,
people and
it
just the
would still
way
go.
the
It
flow,
would
the
still go.
chemistry, everything. That arm drag from Steamboat, one of the best.
Yes. I'm
It's
glad you brought that up.
graceful, it's
Yes. Great
beautiful.
detail. Great
Yeah.
detail. Again, just studying. Just something very simple as the arm drag. but it's the detail that goes into it. And I remember
Perfected it.
watching something how him and Macho Man literally went, spot for spot for spot for spot for spot, breaking that match down and perfecting that. Great match. Absolutely. On my
Yeah.
list. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good
All right.
stuff.
Nice. Nice. I'm happy. I found a good list for him. He's digging it. So
Let's
let's go
go.
into the top three, the final top three here. So
Wait, real
number,
quick though, I'm gonna
yes.
guess number one is a TLC, but go ahead with number 3.
Okay. So number one's TLC. Oh, you're thinking the Jeff Hardy,
Yes.
Bubba.
17,
Okay.
17,
Okay.
17.
All right. We shall see. Will
All
John
right.
be correct? Let's see. So
Right.
number 3, I do agree that this is a good match. You might like it more than I do because of the connection you have to one of the folks in here. But
Iron Man.
it is Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10.
Oh, at 3?
Yeah,
They
I
put
don't
that at
I don't personally think
oh
it's at that level. No offense. I
no, absolutely
understand,
none taken. None
but
taken.
I understand, but to me this wouldn't crack. uh, I don't want to insult, but this wouldn't crack like top 10 for me. Not
Okay.
saying it's a bad match,
No, no,
but
no, no, no.
but
Absolutely not.
I
I'm surprised it's at 3.
yeah,
I'm
that's
surprised at
bold.
3. I think it's at 3 probably because of the story
Of Owen
behind it
Hart.
with Owen and Brett.
Yeah.
I probably,
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
brother,
I think right,
the
and
brother aspect.
nobody saw Owen Hart beating Brett in that match. But if you go back and watch that match, it's a very good match. But
Yeah,
I
they're
would agree.
talented.
I would agree with you. I don't think it's worthy of 3. I think the storyline behind it, with Brett and Owen is playing into this, and then
Yes.
with Brett later on winning the world title and Owen watching, kind of with and jealousy, and then leading up to SummerSlam that year with their cage match. I think that's why this. I think that's why this gets it, but I still think that's a stretch. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think this is 3.
So here's their justification. WrestleMania 10 is one of the most underrated editions of the glorious event. We've already discussed the iconic ladder match between Michaels and Ramon, but there was another all-time classic on that card. In the very first match on the card, brothers Bret Hart and Owen Hart delivered the greatest opening contest in wrestling history. The extremely talented Hart brothers told an engaging story that everyone could easily understand. There haven't been many great brother versus brother feuds in WWE for some reason, but Bret/Owen is definitely the exception. Owen picked up the win in a somewhat shocking result that launched that rocket into the main event scene.
Right. I like that. I like
So kind of put him
that
on.
rocket, considering that Owen Hart was called the Rocket. I like
Yeah.
that.
So they're saying it's kind of put him, elevated him more and gave him some spotlight, which I think I've seen though. I mean, yeah, his trajectory from there, it is what it is. But I
Right.
think I've seen interviews too with Brett. Like that was kind of his intention too, is that he really wanted to spotlight, what his brother could do and actually
Right.
show that he was deserved of more.
Right. Right.
And I think they both put each other over
Right.
very well.
Great
So
match. Great match. I agree. Best brother feud. We talked about in our last one with Jay and Jimmy how disappointing that was.
there
It had
really
all
hasn't been
the
another good one since.
right. It had all the ingredients to put on a good show with them two guys. I mean, the promo they shot right before the actual match was fantastic, and it just totally didn't deliver. Matt and Jeff, I think it was from a belief. I think people just couldn't believe that these two really hated each
Yeah,
other.
they actually had
You know what I'm
beat.
saying? I would agree with that statement. Bret and Owen definitely the best brother feud because it was Owen really showed how much he hated Bret. And then if you go back and watch when he cost Bret the world title against Bob Backlund when he made his mom throw the towel. But you want to talk about emotions? I did cry on that match. I think pretty sure I cried on that one.
Nice.
Pretty sure I cried on that one. So yeah,
Emotional
I would agree on that. But again, 3.
stuff.
Nah.
I think with these final 2, these are going to be shockers for you, for sure. But I think you might like number 1. But before that, let's get to number 2 here on the list. We actually already have mentioned this on the list, and that is the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels streak versus career. WrestleMania 26 comes in at number 2.
I think that only gets it because of the streak versus the career.
Yeah.
But I don't think 26 is better than 25 as far as
Yeah.
the actual match is concerned. But as far as like again, if you're going with everything, then
The story.
yeah, 26 would be probably better than 25. But and don't get me wrong, 26 is a fantastic match. I don't
Yeah.
want to discredit that. 26 is a fantastic match. But I think because obviously what they did in 25, you kind of knew what to expect for 26. But career versus the streak, Yeah, I would agree with that. I would put that over that. If you're gonna
Okay.
add that into it, if we're doing that criteria, phenomenal match. Probably the best tombstone pile driver I think Undertaker's ever done. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was real good. That was real good.
Yeah.
The emotion. I would agree. The emotion.
Retirement.
Yep, the emotion of that. Again, you really didn't know who was going to lose because Shawn Michaels was still full time at that time. Didn't really show, I mean, in my eyes, didn't really show of any slowing down as far as
Yep.
that. So like to look at it and say, oh, Shawn is kind of, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle ended up being Shawn Michaels didn't really say it was like, yo, is Shawn Michaels really gonna retire? Oh, he might beat the streak. I'm good with that. I'm good with two.
It's
I'm good
solid.
with that at two.
It's solid.
Yeah.
One match they didn't mention on here, which I actually like, speaking of retirement matches, is Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels for Ric Flair's
Yes.
retirement match. I forgot what
That's on
WrestleMania that
my
was. Forgive me. That's
that's
on
on
your
my
list.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about after this, when we get through the list, we get through number one, we'll talk about what we would say is our top
Right.
and see
Right.
if they missed any key matches there.
Right.
So
Right. I would agree.
number one, we have come down after the top 13 wrestling match according to
This better be good. I'll tell you that match.
Sportster.com. The number one match
Yeah.
involving one of your favorite wrestlers of all time.
Okay.
And
The Iron
now
Man
this
match.
might be coincidental, but this is also a match that is being highlighted in this year's Hall of Fame. And that is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin submission match at WrestleMania 13. That is number one.
You can tell this just came out. Considering
might
that's
be
getting
publicity.
immortalized. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why this is number one.
Yeah.
Oh man, so they didn't put the Iron Man match on. They didn't put the TLC match on. Ric
Yeah,
Flair versus
no
Shawn-
tag team love on this one.
Wow.
But you gotta understand, there's so many matches. There's so many different styles. There's also no women. I don't know if they did a separate category for women's matches.
I mean,
but...
no women match beats any of those anyways.
Okay, whoa, okay. He's okay. Hey.
Oh, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I mean,
No,
I thought
no.
that...
Don't do
Wait.
like me. The question is, am I wrong?
Well,
Here he goes.
I
Here he
mean,
goes, ladies and gentlemen. Here he goes.
Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky, the triple
Hell
threat,
no.
the
Hell
double title.
No.
I'm saying for the story and the stakes of that match, considering from the women's division side, it was a big match.
Is that match better than the 13 we've just mentioned?
No.
Exactly, my point. Is the storyline better than the 13 that we just mentioned?
The storyline's up there, but it's not top 10.
What storyline did that really have? What storyline did that really have? For the simple fact it was just a unification match. First ever women's main event.
Yeah. Well, I would say the build for that match, I thought, was pretty impressive. And
Bianca and Sasha was better than that match.
Actually, yes. That's another one.
Charlotte and Rhea.
Charlotte and Asuka.
Charlotte and Rhea was better than that match.
Oh, Charlotte and Rhea, yeah.
That was a fantastic match.
Yeah, that's true.
To me, that's as far on top of my head, that is 1 and 2. Rhea and Charlotte and Sasha and Bianca, fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, hey, we're doing our part. Chivalry is not dead. We're giving our flowers to the women's wrestlers. They left them off the list. But there's only so many you can put in. But
you don't got to make up. Again, let them have their own category. I'm sorry. No matter how you slice it and dice it, there's no way you put any woman match in WrestleMania history. Has nothing to do.
I mean, these are Hall of Famers, legends in the game. Right. It's so hard to do. But anyhow, I digress. Let's get to number one here, and then we'll add our mentions of who we would consider top matches. So Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. Right. Obviously, huge match. Some would say this is also kind of a pivotal match in Stone Cold's career.
Absolutely.
Kind of projecting him even further into
stardom. Yep. Absolutely. Like with the hardcore match with Edge and Cactus or Mick Foley, whichever one you want to use. How that propelled Edge. People say he wasn't tough enough. He wasn't a guy yet. He was too much of a baby face, Oh,
that's a good mention too.
Right. And then you had the iconic Stone Cold and the passing out. So yep. I'm with it.
Yeah. So
I like this.
With that being said, this is their 13. So what are some matches that you would say are some of your favorite WrestleMania all-time matches that perhaps weren't included in this list?
Well, they got the TLC match, 17.
Yep, you mentioned that.
You can go, I would put that over The first one at WrestleMania 16 when they did the first time, because I think 17 obviously had more of a story, and the iconic spear off the from Edge to Jeff Hardy hanging on the belts. I'm very
Yep,
surprised that's not on there. Shawn Michaels
I
and Ric
know.
Flair, we're
That's
talking about that.
replayed. Yeah, that match with the ladder match, that footage of the
Right.
spear off the hanging belts from Jeff Hardy, or Edge to Jeff Hardy, that's been replayed year after year in WrestleMania
You want to
promos
talk
and
about a
everything, so it's
bump? If you
crazy.
want to talk about a sell job on that, I mean, them guys, what they did in that match was sheesh. WrestleMania 17. So as people say, this quote unquote the best WrestleMania ever. I mean, them guys put on a freaking show. I'm very surprised that's not on there. Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels. Not a real big Ric Flair fan as far as like in the ring or whatever. That was probably the only Ric Flair match that I've seen so far that when I first saw was like, man, this is really good. Like like he did the flying cross body up the top rope. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hint, hint, Jey Uso, do something different. Pulled out all the stops in this one. It was a great match. Storytelling was great. Ric Flair, like even at that age and with the doubts of within himself of could he perform, man, he put on an absolute show. Him and Shawn, beautiful again, Mr. WrestleMania. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that's actually on my list. Batista and Undertaker,
Mm,
we
yeah.
saw that one. That was a good match. That was a very again, like you talk about close calls and especially the ending. That was real good. Um, let me think.
Oh, I
As
have
far
one.
as go ahead.
If you wanted to think on that, mine. I mentioned this before we started recording, but Seth Rollins and Randy Orton,
Okay. Okay.
WrestleMania 30. Was that 32?
One. It's the 31, I
31.
believe. I think it was 31, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you
31 or
had that.
32.
You'll know which one I'm talking about because it's the one where he did the spot where
Yes,
he shoots Rollins up in the air and then
that
does
was
the
crazy.
RKO.
That
That
was
is a
freaking
memorable
crazy.
spot. That match was great. The
That
venue
was
was great. That
nuts.
crowd was electric.
Right.
That's yeah.
Also, what I'm very surprised, Hulk Hogan and The Rock.
Oh wow, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I'm very surprised that's not on there. I mean, as you said, the list is jam packed.
Hmm.
It's hard to take, but I would take the
It's hard
Bret
to.
Hart and Owen. I would take the Bret Hart Owen Hart one out and put that one in.
Yes. Yeah.
I think just like when we say, can you go wrong with Austin and Rock? I mean, Hogan. Again, the same thing with Shawn and Flair. Not really a big Hulk Hogan fan, especially in the ring.
Hmm.
Not really a fan of his matches, but that match was like, oh my goodness, man! And you wanna talk about crowd reactions, story. I mean, Rock and Hogan in the same ring.
Yeah.
I'm Yeah, I'm sorry. Brett and Owen got to go. That should be in that. That should definitely be in that list.
Yeah.
That crowd reaction in that match, how they switched on Rock, went for Hogan, and switched back, then they split, and oh my God, I freaking iconic match. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
very that should be in there.
That would probably be my top five or
Right.
top list. It's yeah,
Yeah.
definitely one of the best.
Yeah.
Me being a huge rock fan as well,
Right. And
I would
besides
have
that,
to put that in there.
I think they nailed it pretty good. They
Yeah.
nailed it pretty good.
These are all solid, and these are all great recommendations. If any of you watching have not seen any of these matches, do yourself a favor, subscribe to Peacock. We're not sponsored, but subscribe to Peacock and check these matches out. They have the full catalog of all the WrestleManias, and there is tons and tons of great matches out there, and you can find your favorite match. So, John, before we sign off, did you have any other last honorable mentions that you wanted to put in there before we head out here?
Not I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Mm, no, not on top of my head. I think they nailed it. They nailed
Pretty
it pretty
solid.
good.
There's some
Nailed it
good
pretty good.
mentions in here.
I thought we're gonna get a couple of Becky Lynches in there, and we're not gonna go deep into
Yeah.
that. But no, I'm good with this list. I'm good with this list. I don't
Nice.
like I said, with the exception of the Hogan and Rock, that should be in there. Great list. Great
Pretty
list.
solid. Pretty solid.
Yep, great list.
Alrighty. Well, now it's your turn. For those watching, you comment and let us know what is your all-time favorite WrestleMania match. You can give us your top 5, top 10, whatever's best for you, but let us know what your favorite so we can compare it against ours. And if you enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like if you could and even consider subscribing. We'd appreciate it. So, without further ado, we are signing off for today. Thank you for watching and have a good one. Peace.